have a confession to make. My leadership trainings in the 7 facets of 21st century leadership have a spiritual component. That's very controversial to say because many people either shy away from spirituality or are very opinionated about it or are undercover spiritual people. And all of it is understandable. Many people confuse spirituality with religion, and when it comes to religion, we all know how many sins, so-called sins, have been committed in the name of religion. How many people have been slaughtered, how many people have been murdered, how many people have suffered in the name of religion. So no wonder a lot of people are like, ugh, don't give me anything religious. And I can reassure you that none of what's going on in my leadership training is about religion. Religo means I believe. And in my leadership trainings, I always say to people, don't believe anything I say. It's more about getting your own experience. We're getting away from the era of gurus, and we're having to become our own gurus and listen to our own truth. So there's no religion in my leadership training whatsoever. However, there's still a spiritual component. And many people don't even know what spirituality is. So I'll just remind you, what is spiritual intelligence? It's an intelligence that sits in the front of our brain, our happy lobes, our frontal lobes, and it's our ability to create meaning out of things and see the bigger picture. And that, I believe, is a very, very important new skill. I actually believe we can't solve the problems we have without applying this, what is referred to as the new brain. Because the new brain is where we experience oneness, is where we experience happiness, connection, is where we are away from the small selves, ego, separation, me, and get into a broader perspective where we realize we have one planet, it's everybody's home, we have an interest in collaborating, communicating, creating synergy, creating the collaborative society. This part of the brain is our spiritual brain, and this is, I believe, the brain we need now. However, there's still some controversial issues or controversial aspects of the spirituality, because when we understood that we can be spiritual without having a religion, we had to go through a lot of, so to speak, growing up, maturing. In the beginning was like, oh, wow, I can believe in anything I want, and I can believe in fairy tales, I can believe in la woo land, I can believe in anything. And the beginning of liberation from traditional religions, we have had to grow up and learn that, well, it's not all about the law of attraction and mastering that. There's many other universal laws, the law of karma, the law of polarity, the law of relativity, etc. So we've had to grow up to a more nuanced spirituality than in the beginning of our spirituality, freed from religion. And nowadays, it's actually very inspiring to see how many people are going back to more indigenous cultures, belief systems, because there's a lot of wisdom to get from those. I particularly love the indigenous cultures, or not the, because there are many of them, but I love the idea that everything is spirit, that there is divinity in everything and everybody. I find that's a very, very beautiful way to walk in life, to see everything as sacred. Even the people you don't like, even the places you don't find beautiful, even what you don't appreciate in life, well, it's still there for a reason. I find that's a beautifying thought to walk around with life. But now I believe we are more and more who prefer a spirituality that is experienced. It's not something we have to believe in or something we have to subscribe to. No dogmas, no one telling us how the truth is. But more and more people are looking for their own experience, their own spiritual experience. And I'm one of those who really prefer that, because when I've experienced it myself, I don't need to discuss it with anybody. I don't really care if you believe the same thing as I do. If I feel good about what I've experienced as the truth, then I have more surplus for everybody else, and I have more tolerance for everybody else's different experience, and I find that makes me more compassionate and more loving towards other people. So for me, that works, and that's the kind of spiritual intelligence I encourage in my leadership training. I encourage people to get their own experience. I give them a lot of tools, a lot of perspectives, and I encourage them to go out and check it out and see what you think, and then come back and report. Do as a scientist's experience, make experiments and record the results. And many people through those experiments wake up to new parts in themselves, new perspectives that they were actually looking for because they had perhaps studied psychology, or they've been seeing therapists, or they'd been working with other formal leadership training, and they were still missing something. And then when they get these tools and ideas, and some of the tools are physical, some are emotional, some are like how to deal with all our conflicting thoughts. When they apply these tools, they discover, there's like a whole new world opening, and I can see the world in a new way. And I find that's what we need now. Did you know that the first things that are solved with a new paradigm are those things that could not be resolved with the old? So we do need new paradigms. And I find that spirituality, or mature spirituality that is based on people's own truth, their own experiences, their own direct experience with the divine, however that looks for them, I find that is a very, it's a suitable new way of having a spiritual life, but not being dominated by dogma or restricted by religions. So yeah, my leadership trainings have that component because I believe it's an important part of 21st century leadership. And I say this because I know that many of you might be undercover spiritual. So you don't want to admit it. You certainly don't want to tell it at work. But in fact, you are really, really curious about the invisible world, the world of energy, the world of consciousness. And you really find that it resonates with you, and you're really hungry to learn more. You're really eager to expand your experiences and knowledge about this. You're just thirsty for more. And for those of you who feel like that, I can say, yeah, come along. It's so exciting to open up that Pandora's box of new perspectives and deeper felt truth and sacred openings, sacred expansions. So if you're one of those, you've come to the right place. I would love to share the pathways I have found that can open up to new perspectives. I do have a very strong practice myself, very diligent, and it's a very, very big part of my own personal life. And I pass on my experiences to my students and give them, or my leadership participants, and give them access to also some of the best teachers and mentors that have been very helpful for me. Both people who work with energy, people who work with consciousness, people who are really good at aligning when the ego has gone amok somewhere, aligning back to essence. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to give me a call, and then we can see if we're a match. So this was a little Sunday confession. I could record this on a Sunday. Could have been any day, moon day, Monday. But the point is, if you have a spiritual thirst, don't shy away from it, and definitely don't hesitate looking up like-hearted, like-minded, like-spirited people who can help you adjust and help you open even more. And then don't hesitate to use what you feel in your heart and soul as the truth. Don't hesitate to use that in your leadership, because we definitely need those perspectives now in order to create a bright future at home, at work, and in the world.